Yeah, I agree.
It's her baby.
How would you feel if you had a baby and your husband, the father, had just died in an accident and they stole your baby with lies?
I'd be very
Upset.
upset, and I'd probably kill somebody until I had my baby in my arms next to me, sleeping. Like,
Should Americans tolerate this?
no, we shouldn't. It's not fair.
Brandon doesn't think it's fair, and she's going to be able to vote. She's 18. Betty,
Yes.
now it's been, what, 2 years?
Almost 2 years, yes. She's
And
gonna
they finally cut off all your visitations,
They just cut off my rights.
and they cut off your parental rights.
Yep.
And their only excuse was you didn't go to
To-
AA meetings.
And I
that
didn't
you-
go to anger management, and I had a lot of more information to go through, and I
I
did.
think Judge Garcia would need to go to anger management if we took his children, his grandchildren away, told him he had anger issues.
Yes.
Yeah, then he'd have to go to anger management.
And also AA.
Yeah, they piled it on, made it impossible for her to do all the stuff she didn't really need. And then they said, okay, you didn't comply with the court's order, you lose your kid.
Yep.
They're out to steal your child. It don't matter how hard you try. They're out to steal your child because it's worth money. Keeps the CPS workers. We should abolish CPS.
I think Claudia Condell needs to go to anger management. Like they told me I was so angry.
Claudia Cadell, was that the one that went off the handle, blew up in public at you in the hallway?
Yeah, she did. She blew up on me at Child Protective Services. Outside in the...
Do you think she should have a psych eval?
Yes, I think so.
And I want to remind you about the CPS workers in Maine that wouldn't let the mom, wouldn't let the dad, wouldn't let the grandmother have 5-year-old girl. And instead, they let former CPS worker Sally Schofield take the baby home, where she took it down to the basement, duct taped it to death. And the baby,
my gosh.
5-year-old girl, died. And my question is, do we have those kind of CPS workers here? What do you think? I hope we don't have CPS workers that would murder your child rather than let you or the grandmother take it home. You know what? I have never heard of a grandmother killing their grandchild. Never, ever.
That's pretty sick if you ask me.
It is sick. We have a sick CPS system. These are satanic forces. I ask you to pray because our judges are corrupt. They know they're corrupt. They didn't give Betty a jury trial. Imagine. The Constitution says you're entitled to a jury trial before they take anything worth more than $20 from you. Betty, is your baby angel worth more than $20 to you?
Yeah, she's worth my life to me because I gave her birth. She's just my only daughter I've ever had in my life. And my heart just went down the ground, but I guess they don't care.
Cut you off from your kid, even when Garcia said, well, let's give her back her baby.
Yep.
That's what I mean. Satanic forces are at work. We need people who will sincerely pray because Satan is really working overtime in America. Betty.
Yes. She's not worth even being paid for.
Does it bother you to think she's getting a big fat pension?
Yes.
And
Because
then she gets paid extra, double, when she comes back on the bench to do cases like yours?
It's a shame.
Yeah, the whole thing seemed a little strange to me. It seemed like a kidnapping almost, because if you can't justify why you're taking a baby,
And you won't answer the
you won't answer the mother's questions, then what are we doing here? Being the baby, and you can't explain that?
Under force of law.
Yeah,
Child Protective Services kidnapping this little baby 1 day old from the mother who's got custody of our other 2 kids this summer.
right. She has 50% custody of her other 2 boys.
Why do you think now that they did this?
From the documentation that was submitted to Superior Court from Social Services, they're saying their reasons were because she was homeless and showed signs of schizophrenia.
And she's in fact not homeless,
And she doesn't have schizophrenia.
and she doesn't have schizophrenia. So why would Velasco or any other Child Protective Service worker do this? Is that to maintain their salary, their pension, she can't resist?
It's sad.
It is sad. People, this is the first thing they did in communist Russia. When the Bolsheviks took over and they got control, the first thing they did was take the kids under 27 to 20, they took them away from the parents. And they started teaching them, don't trust your parents. Has America become a communist nation, I ask you? We need you to pray. We need prayer warriors that will really pray. Betty, I want to thank you. You never got a jury trial, did you?
Nope.
No jury took your child away, did they?
No.
No jury heard the evidence that you're
No.
not schizophrenic. No jury heard the evidence that you were not homeless. Do you think a jury, listening to the false accusations of the lying CPS worker, Claudia, what's her name?
Kendall.
Kendall and the other one, do you think a jury would have taken your child away when they saw that they're lying? Do you think a jury still would have believed their lies?
I think so because Child Protective Services is very good to get. I mean,
They're smooth, huh?
Yeah, they're slick. You'd say slick. The word slick.
But if you had an attorney that really fought for you, like Tom Mesereau fought for Michael Jackson, don't you think you would expose their lies?
Yes, he would have.
And you would have probably kept your baby.
Yep.
But you weren't given a jury trial.
Never had.
Well, that's that, people. It's really, occasionally we have a decent and real attorney for the defense of the accused. Betty wasn't accused of doing any crime. She just had a baby. The father died in an accident. She had rented a home for that baby to come home to. And you also bought a baby crib and blankets, and you had bottles. You had all that stuff ready, didn't you, Betty?
Yep. I didn't know they were going to come in. I didn't know Katie Hartman was going to come in and yell at me in the hospital.
She yelled at you in the hospital?
Yeah, she yelled at me at the
And you had
hospital.
had a C-section. You just
Yes.
laying there in the bed. You couldn't even get up.
I couldn't because it was hurting.
If the accused can afford a real one like Funky Baloo, Attorney Funky Baloo, he's a real defender. But he is also very, very expensive. Another is an attorney Thomas, I call Hurricane Mesereau.